What was the issue, the real issue between Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X?
There was no issue. The difference was that Martin Luther King learned in college, Malcolm X learned in jail. But Malcolm X read the dictionary and the Bible. See, and when Martin came back with the Nobel Prize, we were up in Harlem in the Armory, and when we came in the back door, who was standing back there in the back door with Malcolm X? Two people, Malcolm X and Nelson Rockefeller. And Malcolm X said, I just wanted to thank you for all that you've done, and I want you to know that I am with you in anything you want me to do. But I think that it's probably a better strategy if you and I don't seem to be so close. And said, that's why I'm not going to come in there with you in public. Well, I met Malcolm when I was here, and Mike Wallace did a story on Malcolm on 60 Minutes, and the black guy who was working with Mike Wallace was married to one of my secretaries at the National Council of Churches, and they invited me and my wife over to dinner. This was before Malcolm X was even known around, but we'd had dinner a couple of times together. Anytime he came to Atlanta, he came by our office, but Martin was never there. But he went to Selma to see Martin, and Martin got arrested that day and was in jail. So he spent the day with Coretta and me and spoke at the mass meeting that night, and then went on his way.
Come on, Malcolm.
Malcolm.
They ever met?
They met several times.
Because it's always
but it was always in private.
Publicly. Malcolm was playing his lane. He was playing his role publicly. But privately, he respected Dr. King. By the way, a lot of the Black Power movement came out of standing right next to Dr. King, walking in the South. The Black Power movement, that's where it started. They used Martin's visibility to get visibility for what they were doing, which was easier because people were angry, Black Power, getting angry. So, and Martin allowed all of that. He allowed everything to flourish around him. He wasn't insecure, but it just wasn't his way.
All right, so when we talk about Black Liberation Theology, we have to talk about Dr. James Hal Cone, Dr. James H. Cone, known as the father of Black Liberation Theology. And we know he passed away in 2018. How many people are familiar with Dr. James H. Cone? Okay, and I probably first became familiar with him in about 1994 when I was in college at Wayne State University, undergrad at Wayne State, because I read his book, Martin Malcolm in America, A Dream or a Nightmare, which is one of the best books dealing with an analysis between Dr. King and Malcolm X. And if you actually understand the history of both of them, toward the end of both of their lives, their ideologies were converging. And actually, they wanted to work together because in January 1965, Malcolm goes to Selma, Alabama to meet with Dr. King, but Dr. King's in jail, and Malcolm meets with Coretta Scott King. Okay, so but they were both assassinated before they could meet up, before they could connect. They met only one time. March 26, 1964, at the U.S. Senate debate for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And if you read the reports of the meeting, they met for a couple of minutes. But Malcolm tells Dr. King, I'm pouring all of my effort into the heart of the Civil Rights Movement. Because this was later in the same month that Malcolm officially separated from the Nation of Islam, March 8, 1964. So when Malcolm leaves the Nation of Islam, he actually, even though he creates the Organization of Afro-American Unity, and we know he delivers that speech by any means necessary, June 28, 1964, announcing the formation of the Organization of Afro-American Unity and laying out their 5-plank platform. But Malcolm also joins the Civil Rights Movement after he leaves the Nation of Islam. And one of the themes of the Ballad of the Bullet, and he delivered a version of the Ballad of the Bullet at King Solomon Baptist Church here in Detroit, April 12, 1964. One of the themes of the Ballad of the Bullet was interjecting Black nationalism into the Civil Rights Movement and radicalizing the Civil Rights Movement.
and then went on his way.
Come on, Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Has, they haven't met?
They met several times.
Because it's always
but it was always in private.
Publicly. Malcolm was playing his lane. He's playing his role publicly. But privately, he respected Dr. King.
Now, what is Black Liberation Theology? Black Liberation Theology, or also known as Black Theology, refers to a theological perspective which originated among African American seminarians and scholars, and in some African American churches in the United States and later in other parts of the world. It contextualizes Christianity in an attempt to help those of African descent overcome oppression, okay? Not using Christianity to justify their oppression, okay? So you have to understand the difference. You have to understand history and understand the difference. Black Liberation Theology is designed to contextualize Christianity in an attempt to help African Americans overcome oppression and fight against oppression, not make them complacent with their oppression. It especially focuses on the injustices committed against African Americans and African people in South Africa during segregation in the United States and apartheid in South Africa. Okay, and for more information, read Black Theology and Black Power, which came out in 1969. Now, Black Theology, or Black Liberation Theology, seeks to liberate non-white people from multiple forms of political, social, economic, and religious subjugation, and views Christian theology as a theology of liberation. Okay, it views Christian theology as a theology of liberation, teaching you that you're not supposed to be oppressed. You're not supposed to be enslaved. It doesn't teach you to love your master or things like this, okay? And if you, there was, I think it was the Smithsonian's website, there was an article that came out maybe about 5 years ago that talked about a version of the Bible that was created, which was a slave Bible. Go research this. It was a slave Bible, and it had selected passages in this that was used to teach enslaved Africans and teach them that they were supposed to be enslaved. Okay. Okay. Now, a rational study. Okay, a rational study of the being of God in the world in light of the existential situation of an oppressed community, relating the forces of liberation to the essence of the gospel, which is Jesus Christ, or Yeshua, with the Y, Yeshua, writes James H. Cohen, one of the original advocates of the perspective of Black liberation theology. Now, Black theology mixes Christianity with questions of civil rights, particularly raised by the Black Power movement and the Black consciousness movement. So the Black Power movement coming about right about 1966. We know it really comes out of the movement, comes out of SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which is founded in April of 1960. We know Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, he becomes chairman of SNCC in 1966, and in Mississippi during the March Against Fear, June 1966, he comes out of the jail and he drops the Black Power slogan, which was primed on the ground. One of the people who really primed the Black Power slogan and helped create it was Mukasa Dada, who back then was known as Willie Ricks. I've interviewed Mukasa Dada, and he's told me the whole story about this. Okay, now read A Black Theology of Liberation, 40th Anniversary Edition 2010 by Dr. James H. Cohen for more information on this.
Visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for this new 10-week online course. So we're going to teach this on Sundays, normally 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're running late today. So as soon as I finish this broadcast, I was going to start the class about 5:30 p.m. today. Because it's a holiday weekend, I'm going to do a quick introduction to the class so you could join us for that. Class is on sale, $80. You get 5 of my lectures free in digital download format, okay, when you register for this as well. Click right here, register here. You can do debit card, credit card, what have you. If you want to do it through Cash App, send it through our Cash App is here, $ the AHN show through Cash App. You click on the link. It takes you here. And if you send it through Cash App, follow it up with an email. You can email me through the website right here. Contact the African History Network at the top. If you send it through Cash App, follow up with an email. Let me know you sent the registration through Cash App. And this is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll say Michael. These are some fake African History Network Cash App accounts that have been stealing money from us. I'm still trying to get them shut down. Here's our PayPal link right here also. Okay. So this is African empires, the Moors, and the transatlantic slave trade, 5,000 BC to 1800 AD. Okay, so this is a new 10-week online course that I'm teaching. I've been teaching online history classes going back to 2017, and I put these classes together, put together the curriculum. There are about 200 slides in this class, 80 to 100 articles that we reference, 15 books. You don't have to buy any of the books. I'll show you screenshots of the book as well. The content is PG-13. You can use this with your children, okay? And it's very engaging. It is interactive also. There's a class chat, so you can ask me questions in the class also. You can see me, I can't see you.